Welcome to EDC TV from the Morris County Economic Development Corporation. Well, we're glad to come at noon every single Thursday to bring training on effective leadership. Today, we're going to talk about a very important topic: how to overcome anxiety. As a leader, you know that you're often dealing with much stress. Every leader deals with major stress, especially when you're trying to run an organization. You want to be efficient. You want to be effective. We also have the issue of COVID-19. Now we're coming out of COVID-19 and leaders are realizing that the workplace will never go back to normal. As a matter of fact, everything is changing all around us. So here at the Morris County Economic Development Corporation, our desire is to help you how to become an effective and efficient leader. EDC TV is all about training, is all about leadership, is all about development. It's all about capitalizing on your strengths. But today we want to talk about a topic that is dear to my heart, and is the topic of anxiety. How do we overcome our fears, especially when we're dealing in uncertain times? As we go to the PowerPoint, I want to share with you that you have to face your fears, and there are antidotes for anxiety. In order to overcome anxiety, you need to face your fears. This involves exposing yourself to the very things that make you uncomfortable. Confronting your fears may make you feel worse in the short term, but it will help you overcome your anxiety in the long term. Avoidance actually fuels anxiety. So you need to face your fears if you want to get better. List 5 things you are afraid of. Rank them in terms of intensity and start facing your fears. Fear cannot be overcome until you throw yourself in and find yourself in the middle of the situation, and that it is up to you as a leader to find the solution. Remember that all leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing else. So when you're leading, who are you influencing? And the people that you influence depend on you. As a matter of fact, they're looking up to you. But we all have fears. But the only way to overcome fear is to face those fears. So I want you to make a list, write down at least 5 fears that keep you in a box, that keep you up at night, that make you doubt yourself, that make you sweat, that bring about anxiety. Write at least 5 that you need to overcome. And in this process, we're going to help you as a leader to overcome, to rise up to the occasion, to know that you're able, that you're more capable than what you think. As we go to the PowerPoint, it is time to turn off false alarms. When we are stressed or anxious, our thoughts often sound an alarm in our mind, telling us that we are in danger. While those thoughts are sometimes correct, they're actually not, or they're usually not. When you feel anxious, you can turn off false alarms by asking yourself, how much danger am I actually in? What resources do I have at my disposal to empower or comfort myself if some of my concerns are warranted? So the first thing you start to do is an analysis of self. I'm going to start to look, am I really in danger? And what do I need to do to overcome this fear? Remember that when we become anxious, we're not thinking 100%. I usually use the equation: events plus response equals outcome. As a leader, it is imperative that we become proactive instead of reactive. So what happens when fear comes? If you've written down these 5 fears, now you have to analyze, am I really in danger? And what's the worst that can happen? See, anxiety does not allow us to think at 100%. As a matter of fact, anxiety, instead of keeping us proactive, it makes us reactive. And I would tell you that any effective leader will tell you that when we react to things and they're not thought out, events plus response equals outcome. When we've not measured the outcome, we've not measured our response, it's very easy to fall into that tunnel of fear. I made a decision. It was a rash decision. Was it the best decision? What are the long-term consequences of my decision? That's why as a leader, I tell people, take a moment, take a breather, adjust your thinking, walk away from the situation, get yourself in a quiet place, think about the whole situation, because sometimes anxiety makes things a lot bigger than what they really are. So you got to ask yourself, am I really in danger? Is this really going to get me in trouble? Because the more you think and the more you challenge those fear thoughts, remember this, that your thoughts create your feelings. The more that you adjust your thoughts, the more that you will overcome as a leader. You will find yourself that now you understand. You comprehend the situation. You get a hold of the situation. Instead of the situation controlling you, you start to control the situation. But you got to take a step back, take a breather. Don't react. Find a way to be proactive. Find a way to make adjustments in order to not allow your feelings to take over and to lead you in the wrong direction. As we go to the next screen, put away the crystal ball. One type of thinking that creates anxiety involves predicting a life event will turn out in a certain negative way. Nobody is really psychic. And that reality is these predictions are almost always wrong. Put down the crystal ball and try to realize that there are many different ways your feared situation could end. Write down one current worry, your specific prediction, and as many other ways it could turn out as you can think of. Get input from others if needed. Our brains will usually reflect the worst scenario. As a leader, you have to get your thoughts together and not say, well, this is going to turn out like this, and it's the worst scenario possible. Write down what can be different outcomes to this situation. As you begin to adjust and you use your cognitive abilities and you adjust your thoughts, because you know that your thoughts produce your feelings, and you start to look at the scenario with a wide lens, because sometimes we look at it the worst way. We think the worst thing is going to happen. We're going to fail. We're not going to succeed. This is going to take me in the wrong direction. And you never shift. And that fear, what it's doing is paralyzing you. That anxiety is putting you back in a box. You lose your creativity. You lose your ability to think. You use your ability to overcome. So you have to write down, well, what are the different scenarios? What are the different outcomes that can come about this? What is the worst and what is the best scenario? And then make adjustments to your thinking. But if your mind is one that immediately, when you see a negative situation, you go into the extremes. Well, I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die. And you're still living. Think about this. How many times did you think something was going to turn out super bad for you? And today you sit on the other side of that situation and you're able to say, you know what? It wasn't that bad. You know, I thought the worst of the worst. And after going through it, I realized that it was not that bad. See, as a leader, you have to paint scenarios. And our brain usually goes to the worst scenario. Think of everything in between. Think about what other outcome can I get out of this? It's not always the worst. I always tell leaders, think, at best, this can happen. At worst, this can happen. And let me tell you, if you even analyze your life, it always falls somewhere in between. Maybe it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. And it landed somewhere in between. Sometimes we become anxious of things that are never going to happen. Our fears have a way of paralyzing us and keeping us from moving forward. That's why it's so important to renew the spirit of your mind. It is so important to rethink. It is so important to take time to meditate. A leader should always take time to meditate and to think about situations and run different scenarios before you come to the rest of the team. Don't ever come to the team while you're anxious. Don't ever go to your team to present the worst scenario. But make sure you've taken time to meditate, to think, to adjust. Get yourself a big board. Write down the pros, the cons. What is the worst scenario? What's the best scenario? Write it out. Ask for input. Ask your coworkers. Ask those other close leaders that you appreciate. How do you see this situation? Do you think I can overcome? Do you think it'll get better? What do you think? Never be afraid to get the input of others. Remember, as a leader, you're not on an island by yourself. As a leader, you will have built enough relationships around you that there are some people you can go to and ask for advice and ask them, what do you think? How do you see it? I tell leaders that it's always important to get a different set of eyes on the situation. You know what? Let me allow somebody else to look at it and let me make the decision. So throw away your crystal ball. Stop trying to predict the future. Stop predicting the worst of the worst and look out for the best in everything that you do. Let's go to the next screen. Don't forget to remember, when we predict something catastrophic is going to happen and it doesn't, we're often quick to forget it and move on to the next worry. This is a rare instance where it's important not to forget how wrong we were. Becoming aware of our tendency to blow things out of proportion can help us find the peace we deserve. Take a time to reflect on your past worries. Make a list of all your negative predictions that did not come true. Something that we all have is history. I tell leaders, never forget your history. Never forget that situation. Come on, I want you to think right now. That situation that you thought you were never going to get out of. I want you to think about that situation that you thought the worst of the worst. Maybe it was the doctor told you to take some testing and you already blew it up. You thought it was cancer. You thought you were going to die. You told everybody, prepare my funeral. And you're still here. 10 years later, you're still here. Your predictions were off. I want you to remember those times. Because when you remember those times and a new situation comes, you're able to tell yourself, look, I blew it out of proportion that last time. I'm not going to blow it out of proportion again. I'm not going to exaggerate. You know that us humans, we exaggerate. For example, we add our own spin to our stories. For example, let's say you saw an accident and the accident was a simple fender bender. You were there, it was a fender bender, and everybody was okay. You go to the next person and you share your experience. Well, you know what? I just saw downtown a fender bender and this van hit this car. And you know what? Thank God nobody was hurt. Now, if the person that's receiving my story is a person that exaggerates, is a person that blows things out of proportion, then that person might turn around and say, do you know that Ed told me that there was an accident downtown, and when I looked at that he looked at that accident, my goodness, a van ran into a car and bags came out and they almost died and the ambulance almost came. By the time it gets to the 50th person, it'll be, there was a major accident in downtown Main Street and a van hit a car. People almost died. The bags came out. People were hurt. Ambulances were everywhere. Helicopters were flying through the sky. It was a scene to be seen. People were taken to the hospital. I even think people died. What happened in that scenario? The further it goes from the source, the more people will add their own spin to it. And by the time the 100th person hears it, it is a totally different story than the story that one initially shared. My friends, and we see that in leadership. that stories spread like wildfire and everybody adds their perception to that situation. So what happens? When you're an effective leader and you know that something is making you anxious, don't exaggerate. Don't look at the worst scenario. Don't be the one that sees the van that hit the car with the helicopters flying overboard, ambulances coming in, blood everywhere, all the bags blew open and the safety bags, the doors, it was tragic, fire everywhere, ambulances everywhere. Don't be that person. Be the person that looks at a situation, and though it may feel, because anxiety trips the way we think. So look at yourself and say, you know what? I'm going to analyze this. It's not that bad. I got this. See, I want you to say that right now. Whatever is building anxiety and it's not allowing you as a leader to stay stable, I want you to say right now, I got this. I got this. I'm going to look at this again. I'm going to look at it with a clear vision, clear eyes, and I'm going to succeed. As a matter of fact, I'm going to overcome everything that's come against me, everything that's tried to paralyze me. I'm coming against that right now. I am a leader. I am an effective leader. I can look at a situation, make adjustments, and I will succeed. My ultimate goal is peace, and I will not give up my peace to anxiety. As a matter of fact, I'm taking my peace back right now, and I'm not going to allow anxiety to put me in that spin of fear. I'm going to face it, I'm going to fight it, and I'm going to overcome it. Let's go to the next PowerPoint. Other opinions are none of your business. This is so important that we understand that sometimes we get ourselves in trouble because we are looking at the opinions of others. You can find freedom from anxiety by learning to care less about what other people think. Stop trying to get the approval of others. Know that you're stable. Know that you know what you want. Although you don't want to become so jaded that you don't care what anybody thinks, you also don't want to be so consumed by other people's opinion that you can't freely live your life. How would you benefit from caring less about what other people think and why? I want you to write that down. What steps can you take to move in this direction? Look, everybody has an opinion. As a leader, you need to realize that everybody has an opinion. Somebody's going to come up to you and somebody's going to tell you, I feel that you should do it this way. I feel that you shouldn't do it. I feel that you should go that way. See, my friends, in a world of opinions, people are going to render their opinion. And as a leader, yes, respect people's opinions. Listen to people. It's very important. Analyze what people are telling you. That's very important. But at the end, you have to make the decision that is best for you. Don't allow your happiness to be in somebody else's head. Don't allow your decisions to be the byproduct of somebody else's decisions. You have to be able to make decisions that you know are going to launch you forward and are going to cause you to succeed. You need to get to the place that you know what you know. And you have to analyze what is best for me and for my family. What should I do that will take me to the next level? What should I do that will promote the next level of success? If you live in people's opinions, you're never going to make it. Respect them, yes, but you cannot allow other people's opinions to dictate everything that you need to do for you and your family and for you and your career and for you and your organization. You need to stand on your decisions, own them. Never walk in fear. As a leader, do this, right or wrong. Once you make a decision, own it. Stand on that decision, run with it, and if it succeeds, get the praise and the accolades. And if it fails, you own it. You'll learn from it, you will make adjustments from it, and you will move in a different direction. But do not allow yourself to become so anxious because everybody has an opinion how you should run your organization and what you should do and how you should do it. So you make sure that you own your decisions. Make sure that you analyze them. Make sure that you know that you're going to succeed because all the power that you need is already within you. Remember that everything that is from without is an expression of what lives from within. As a leader, you have to realize that whatever's on the inside is going to reflect on the outside. If what you have on the inside is fear, insecurity, and doubt, that is what is going to reflect on the outside. As a leader, you have to internalize and then make sure that your reflection is success, is assurance, is victory, and above all, it is your personal confidence. And that your confidence cannot be shattered because of the opinion of someone else. Here we go. It's not about you. People who struggle with stress and anxiety tend to take things personally. But when we believe that every comment is about us, our feelings can easily get hurt and we remain stressed out. What was the last comment you can think of that hurt your feelings? How can you tell if you are taking something too personally? This is important. As a leader, you have to get out of your head. You know, the people that fail the most are the people that believe that everything that is being said is because of them. That everything in this world is indirect to them. My friend, look, as a leader, you're going to have to make decisions. And you cannot live in somebody else's head. And you cannot think that everything is about you. I have leaders often that tell me, well, I think they were talking about me. And if they were talking about you, so what? My friend, you have to be confident of yourself. And we live in a world today that everybody wants everybody's approval. I want everybody to agree with me. And I'll tell you, you will never be an effective leader if you're looking for agreement straight across the board. There are decisions that you will have to make that others will not agree with you. But it is the best decision for the team. And if it's the best decision for you, for your family, for your organization, for your team, then you got to rise up and say, I own my decision. If you're going to try to get approval and you want to get likes on Instagram and Facebook, and you just want to be liked by everybody, you will never be an effective and efficient leader. Let me tell you, even those that disagree with you, when they see confidence, that when they see a man or a woman that stands on their own right, they will respect you. They might disagree with you, but they will respect you. And it is more important to earn the respect of those that follow you than to constantly be changing your mind. The worst leader is the leader that every day, based on opinion, changes their mind. We were going to go left, but after getting other people's opinions, we're going to go right. And we were going to go right, but because of people's opinions, now we're going to go left again. And because of people's opinions, we're not going to go left. We're going to go somewhere in the middle. My friends, you're not an effective leader. You are a confused leader. A leader has to know in the direction that he's going and own it. Have confidence in your abilities. You are the leader. You are educated. You are trained. You have been placed to head this team, whether it's your family, whether it's your organization. You cannot allow yourself to be paralyzed by the opinions of others. As a matter of fact, we live in a world that nobody really says what they feel because it's no longer culturally correct. So you'll keep it to yourself. You might disagree, but you know that if you voice it, you're going to face consequences. My friends, I can see that some things cannot be voiced publicly as we used to do because of offense and because of cultural norms. But internally, when it comes to your team and when it comes to taking your organization to the next level, you got to open up your mouth and speak your mind and speak from a place of honor and respect. Because people will respect you when you're honest. If you're constantly fluctuating, if you're constantly changing your mind, you're not going to be effective and you're not going to be efficient. It is imperative that you know in the direction you want to go, and that you stick to that direction and know that you've made a decision and you are not other people's opinions. My friends, everybody's going to have an opinion. Not everybody's going to like you, and that's all right. As long as in your heart, you're making the best decision for the organization, the best decision for the team. Your decision is not a selfish one, then you owe no one any apologies. You have to run and believe that you're making the best choice for your team instead of being anxious that you're going to hurt some feelings because you don't agree with some people. That's all right. If we can't agree, we can't agree. But I have to move in the direction that's going to take my organization to another level of success. The next screen. Analysis to paralysis. While there is no such thing as thinking too much, there is such a thing as thinking too much about a particular thing. Give up your need to be perfect. Recognize that your 70% is likely better than most people's 100%. Overanalyzing slows you down and stresses you out. Remember that perfection is the enemy of excellence. Oh boy, write that down. Remember that perfection is the enemy of excellence. How have perfectionist behaviors hurt you? At work, in personal relationships, at school. Name one area of your life you can strive for good enough instead of perfect. My friends, one of the things that hurts us is when we're expecting other human beings to be perfect. As a leader, be flexible. Not everybody in your team is going to do everything 100% the way you want it. An effective leader shows empathy. An effective leader comes alongside his team and says, you know what? We're going to the next level. We are going to be all right. See, my friend, the biggest problem that we have is when we walk in fear. And fear tells us that it's not good enough unless it is perfect. Give yourself a break. Nobody's perfect. Events, you can plan them. And any leader will tell you the day of the event, things will happen that you were not expecting to happen. And this has been your whole life. Be it a birthday, be it a wedding, be it a corporate event. You must always give yourself allowance for mistakes that will happen on the day of the event and know how to adjust, course correct, and don't feel bad because it was not perfect. Don't you know that if you expect other people to be perfect, don't you know that if you expect relationships to be perfect, you're always going to be disappointed. Nobody's perfect. You have to give yourself leeway and know that sometimes at best you're going to get good enough. And if it's not perfect, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect because us humans were flawed. We get anxious because it didn't come out 100%. And you got to say to yourself, it does not need to be 100%. And I'm okay if this event came out 90%, 95%. I am okay with that. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat up your team. Always learn, always course adjust, and always try to become better than your last event. Always try to do better. But if you think you've reached perfection, not only are you going to stress yourself out, you're going to stress those close to you out, and you're going to stress out your friends. You're going to stress everybody around you, and eventually your team will fall out. Learn, every day learn. Every day encourage, every day motivate. Every day take your team a step further to success and tell them it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not to feel 100% every single day. But every day is a learning opportunity. Every day is an opportunity to adjust. Every day is an opportunity to grow. Let's go to the next screen. A need-to-know basis. People with anxiety often try to plan and prepare for the future. because the idea of uncertainty is intolerable. But we can't predict the future. So the move we tell ourselves that we need to know everything, the more upset we feel. Learning to tolerate uncertainty is one of the most powerful tools we can use to find contentment in the face of adversity. What is one of your lives that you're told yourself you need to know where it would benefit you to tolerate uncertainty? Be tolerant. Learn how to tolerate. You know, we live in a society that you got to learn how to tolerate. You have to learn to let go, because an effective leader produces the best in other people. And if we're intolerant, if we're just, it has to be my way or the highway, it has to be one way, then you start to live in the world of anxiety. Tolerate. Some things you don't need to agree with. You just need to tolerate them and get to the other side of that situation. The next screen is worry time. Creating a scheduled worry time sounds a little bit counterintuitive to some clients, but setting aside a specific time to worry for 30 minutes each day can be a great way to cope with unwelcome worry thoughts that creep into our minds. The catch: this is the only time of day you are allowed to worry. Whenever you find yourself worrying, jot that worry down in a journal and don't give it any more attention until your scheduled worry time. Wow. Every day, I said it in the morning. As a leader, I wake up every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I take time to meditate. And during that time, I do worry. I take time to worry about the finances, about the corporation, about those that I coach, about those that I lead. That's my worry time. After I get up from that worry, I don't let worry creep in the rest of the day. When worry comes in, I tell worry, we already did that this morning. You have no other time. You can't interfere with the rest of my day. Worry, you cannot take another hour of my day. Worry, you're not taking another 5 minutes of my day. I'm going to walk in faith. I already worried this morning. There's no other time in my schedule to worry until tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I'll worry again. What I'm giving you is little tips to overcome anxiety, to strengthen your cognitive ability, to get yourself to a place that you can renew your thinking and you can succeed as a leader. Don't allow worry to creep in whenever worry wants to creep in. Don't allow worry to take your schedule throughout the day. Don't allow worry to paralyze you. But you control worry. You tell worry, we'll talk tomorrow morning. Worry, you only have a certain time in my day to come forth. And right now is not the time. I'm in action mode. I got things to accomplish. I got things I got to fulfill. I got things I got to do. So worry, I'm going to put you in the back burner, and we'll talk again tomorrow morning when it's the session for worry. If you do that, you learn how to live a life that's at peace. You are more productive. You are more successful. You will accomplish a lot more things throughout your day because you are worry-free. And that is very important. Establish moments in your life that you are worry-free, and worry has no access to you. The next screen. Let go and let God. This popular 12-step coping mantra can help take the pressure off when you've put in the word and there's nothing else you can do. It reminds you that all I can do is all I can do. The key is not to use this mantra as an excuse to do nothing to help yourself. What is outside of your control that you could benefit from turning it over to God? What are 3 steps within your control that can take you to better your situation? What can benefit you? What can take you to the next level? What is that thing that, if you allow it, can take you to a next level? What is that thing that you need to do that will allow you to succeed? There are things you got to let go. There are things that you are not going to be able to control. There are things that you're going to have to say, look, it's out of my power. I can't control it. I can't do it. And that's when you start to succeed. Today, I want you to reevaluate yourself. I want you to overcome anxiety, because as a leader, you're always dealing with pressure. Look, I deal with pressure 18, 19 hours a day. But I put some of these 12 skills into place to overcome anxiety. I want to thank you for partnering with us, with the Morris County Economic Development Corporation, EDC TV. Every week, we will come with different programs that will help you to become a successful leader. As a leadership expert, my greatest desire is to see you succeed. If I can be a blessing to your life, if I can support you, if I can stand with you as a coach, if I can stand with you as a partner, I want you to connect with me at eramirez@morriscountyedc.org. Again, eramirez@morriscountyedc.org. We come every Thursday at 12 noon, and we're here to help you become a better, efficient, more effective leader. Make sure you connect with us. Make sure you stay plugged in, because we got great things ahead of us in the weeks to come. God bless, and thank you for being a part of our program this afternoon.